Hi Pisces, welcome to your June 2019 Astrology 33 reading. We have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us. It looks like you got just one extra card this month. And then we have a couple of Oracle cards to look at as well, and a mudra card. And also before I forget, for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, following me on Instagram, or donating to the channel, check out the description of the video for more info on all that. And also, keep an eye out on this channel because after I'm done posting all of the general readings, I will be posting up some bonus readings for all the signs as well. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, let's get started with the main spread. So in the position of the main situation, we have the Three of Swords. So, this is one of the more infamous cards in tarot. So, obviously, this could represent some kind of a disappointment and a heartbreak. A lot of times people make the jump automatically to a romantic relationship dynamic, especially given the artwork with the heart, right? But, this could be revolving around pretty much any area of life. It could represent heartbreak in a romantic relationship. Maybe you had your hopes up regarding getting a job, and maybe you found out that the job was taken. Maybe you had your heart set on moving to a certain house, and maybe the house was sold. There's plenty of ways that it could play out. I get a vibe that for some of you, yes, it could definitely point to romance, but for some of you, this could also be pointing to maybe even just travel, because in the challenge position we have the Chariot. So maybe there was some big vacation you were looking forward to, and maybe for whatever reason you find out that you won't be able to make it this month. For example, you guys did just have a full moon in your ninth house recently, so maybe that was when that news came to light. Maybe you had expectations, oh, I'm going to make this trip. Maybe it's something you were really looking forward to, and then you find out for whatever reason you can't make that trip. But back to the romance thing, it can certainly be pointing to that as well, because in the middle of May, I'm basically recording this right after that Scorpio full moon that we just had. So, recently Mars went into your fifth house. So, on the one hand, that could add passion to that area of your life. Fifth house can point to dating and love. So, on the one hand, yes, it can bring passion there, but it can also bring sometimes passion in a negative way with Mars, especially because Mars isn't very comfortable in the sign of Cancer. So maybe this is just a big argument you had with the person you're with. And, coming into the month of June, this could be the energy that you're feeling. In the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Chariot card. So this is actually another card pointing to that Cancer energy that we were just talking about, because this is the major arcana card for Cancer. So it could just be saying that that was the cause of the heartbreak, right? So if that's the case, of course, some of you could be dealing with the Cancer. That's another water sign, and you guys, Pisces and Cancer are pretty compatible normally. But, again, I feel like this could just be pointing to that Mars transit, that maybe once that took place, maybe there was something that took place between you and the person you're with. As far as an argument, quite frankly, if not a breakup, the two of you actually could have been arguing over travel. Maybe you wanted to make some big trip, and they weren't really on board with that. So maybe that was what you guys were fighting over. But primarily, with this in the challenger obstacle position, what I will say is having the North Node in that sign as well. That does mean that you're meant to learn and grow in that area of life. So, maybe whatever this heartbreak was, it was meant to teach you something. So maybe with this coming up in the challenge position, it could just be saying the challenge is for you to see that there actually was a lesson to be learned there, and actually integrating that lesson into your life moving forward. So, it doesn't necessarily mean doom and gloom for the connection. It could just mean that you might have to really take a deep look at what took place and what it was meant to teach you. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is actually a court card that represents Aries. So, there's a few ways that could be playing out. That could just say, for example, for a lot of you, if you're a Pisces sun, A lot of you might also have a Venus or a Mercury in Aries, so it could even just be as simple as that. But the first thing that I'm really drawn to is the fact that, again, there's another Aries connection there because of the fact that Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars, again, pointing back to the Cancer thing we were talking about, Mars is actually in that sign. So that could be saying that that's what's really at play here. When that transit, when Mars, which rules Aries, moved into the sign of Cancer, that could have caused some issues with you in your love relationship. And, to be fair, there's another way we could look at this too. The chariot representing the sign of Cancer, which is fourth house. This could even be saying that maybe you had a spat with some family members, maybe just one or maybe multiple, while Mars was moving through your fourth house of Gemini. So, especially because that squares you. So, whatever your Pisces placement was, when Mars was moving through there, it might have, with that square aspect, that could have brought some conflict with family even. So that's another way that could be playing out as well. In the past position, we have the Six of Wands. So this is a card that represents victory, but, on a minor scale. The Chariot card is more of a major victory card, but the Six of Wands, could have even been as simple as saying that when this all started, if not with those transits that I was just pointing out, this could have even been happening around the time of your birthday, because sometimes I look at this card, it could be as simple as when your birthday comes around, everyone celebrates with you, right? They, contact you on social media, they call you, they text you, whatever. They go out with you, out with you for dinner or drinks, whatever. So this could even be saying that back around the time of your birthday was when, you were feeling in this energy. You felt like things were going well in the connection. This is a card of Leo as well, so maybe you guys were dealing with a Leo in the past, and maybe that's who the breakup was with. But yeah, that's and the main vibe I'm getting there is that there was definitely a feeling of victory in the past. And again, given that the Chariot is another victory card, it's in a challenger obstacle. Maybe it's saying that you were at this stage in the past, and now the challenge is to get it to that next level. And maybe that's what you're struggling with. It might not even be a breakup. Maybe you're just struggling to take the relationship to the next level with that person. All right, in the present position, we got two cards. Oh, yes, he actually got a couple extra cards. But in this position, we have the Seven of Wands and the Eight of Wands. So it's pretty interesting to me that in the past we have the Six, and then you have that natural progression with the Seven of Wands and then the Eight of Wands. But the main thing that I get with this, the Seven of Wands, actually another Leo card, and then this is a Sagittarius card for what it's worth. But this could just be saying that this is you standing up for yourself. So, whatever this breakup was about, maybe, yes, you experienced a heartbreak, but now you're actually ready to talk about what took place. And this could just say that you're willing to fight for the connection, that, okay, you're in that heartbreak stage, start in a month, but maybe as you think about it a little bit longer, you're like, all right, you know what, I really want to, I want to put up a fight and try to get this relationship back on track, right? And then the Eight of Wands just represents a lot of communication, so, that could be in a positive way or negative way, but I will say usually with the Seven of Wands, it represents having the upper hand. If you look at for example, there's six wands down there, and he, at the very least, looks like he's being attacked, right? He doesn't look like he's very comfortable. But the one thing he has going for him is he has that higher vantage point, right? Whereas if he were on the same level with them, it'd be a lot more difficult for him to fend them off. So, this could just be saying you have the higher ground, having that advantage in that regard. So, for example, maybe whatever the conflict was about, maybe now you're able to express that, maybe it was based on a misunderstanding, especially if it was around the time of your birthday, too, because Mercury was retrograde in your sign, so, could have even just been a misunderstanding because of that, and now you're able to point out to them, hey, I know you thought it was this, but actually that wasn't what was happening, so it could just be clear in the air in that regard. Good thing is, however, it's going to play out. You do have the Justice card at the bottom of the deck, so you know that's a theme that will cover the whole month for you, and it's definitely a positive card to have. So that could just be saying that, hey, you know, if you truly are the one who was in the right, then this will say that, you know, you'll be able to restore that balance. But to be fair, if you were the one who was wrong, then that's going to say that, you know, you'll find that out this month as well. But beneath that, we actually have the Magician too, so that's a pretty good card to have, which is to say, you know, whatever you're trying to manifest, you will have luck doing so. I'm not going to go through the whole deck, but I will say beneath that, Three of Cups, beneath that, Wheel of Fortune. So at the very least, you have luck on your side if you were the one who was quote unquote right. You know, or even if it's not about right or wrong, but you at least want to make the effort to restore that balance. It looks like you have some supportive energies for you this month. All right, in the position of the near future, we have the Six of Swords. So this is actually a card that represents the middle 10 degrees of Aquarius, but more importantly, you know, this represents moving to calmer waters. So again, you know, coming out of that conflict with the person, or just a heartbreak, you know, if it wasn't an actual conflict, but just moving away from that heartbreak, recovering from it. Um, and if this is going back to that travel theme that I mentioned, maybe this is where you guys reach a compromise, like I said, for those of you where maybe you want to take this big extravagant trip overseas or something, and the person you're with is like, yeah, I'd rather us do something, you know, a little bit more local, you know. So maybe instead of overseas, maybe all right, we'll make a road trip and have a long weekend or something, right? So maybe this is just saying you guys reached that compromise to at least do some kind of travel, even if it's not the exact trip that you hoped for, or even outside of a relationship, if this is just a trip that you had your heart set on but you had to cancel it. This is saying that at least maybe you decide around the middle of the month, all right, well, I couldn't go to, I don't know, let's say you were going to Fiji or something random. Like, all right, I couldn't go to Fiji, but maybe I'll just go to San Diego or something, you know. Just an example for those of you in the States. I don't know, pretty random example, but hopefully you get the idea of what I'm saying. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Lover's card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Gemini. Um, Obviously, the sun will be in that sign, and, you know, at least for part of the month, Venus will be there as well. Um, Mercury also, I think just for the first few days of the month, Mercury will be there. But yeah, so there's definitely going to be a lot of stuff going on in Gemini. So maybe that's helping you take on that energy for one. But, you know, more importantly, I definitely feel like this is leaning me more towards saying that this was some kind of a love relationship situation. And this could just be saying that, you know, this is what's going to happen this month. Maybe with that Seven of Wands energy we talked about there and the Justice at the bottom of the deck. Maybe this just represents, you know, the two people being naked there. Maybe that just represents you guys just really being honest with each other, communicating, and getting to the bottom of whatever took place. Um, you know, I mean, it could even be the fact that at least at the start of the month, you will still have Venus in your third house. So if we look at Gemini ruling the third house, so when Venus is in Taurus, that's your third house. So maybe that's what it's pointing to as well, just saying that, you know, that transit really has your mind focused on love. That could be what's going on there too. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Fool card. So, you know, this is a card that points to new beginnings, taking a risk. So this could be playing out two ways. This could just be saying that the energies at hand could have you feeling this way, like, all right, you're ready to make that leap of faith. Like I said, Mars in the fifth, for example, can contribute to that, where you feel like, you know what, I'm just going to go out there, let this person know how I feel, right? Maybe it's someone, maybe it's an unrequited love thing where you might not have even expressed to them that you were into them. And now you decide, you know what, I'm just going to take a chance and see what happens. Um, on the flip side, if this does represent another person's energy, though, this could just be saying that if you extend an offer to them, that they'll take that leap of faith with you. So either way, it's a pretty positive card to have in that regard. Because it looks like you are trying to get something off the ground in some way. So if that's the case, pretty good card to have there. In the hopes or fears position, we have the sun, the star, and the Four of Wands. So I highly doubt that any of these cards are fears, because they're all three of them are pretty positive cards. So this could just be saying that you're hoping to, basically have that stable relationship. And, we see some things pointing to that in this reading already. But, keep in mind this is just hopes or fears, so it's not necessarily energy that will definitely manifest this month, but at the very least it shows it's what's on your mind. Given that the sun is the ruler of Leo, this could even be saying that maybe if this was a Leo in your past, that this is you hoping to reconnect with them because you see them as your wish come true, basically. And they're who you want to build stability with. But just in general, this could just be saying, you wanting to connect with someone who makes you feel this way. The sun energy, we think of that. It's like that fun, playful energy. Maybe they make you feel like, carefree when you're around them. Make you feel like you could be open and vulnerable with them, right? Maybe that's what that is there. And this is someone that you just want that stability with. All right, in the outcome position, we have Two of Pentacles. So, this is a card of vacillating. Sometimes it's trying to decide between two options. Usually I don't see that with the Lovers card, but I will say that some tarot readers do say that they see the Lovers as an option, trying to decide between two options as well. But to me, what this could mean is this could just be you vacillating as far as making a move towards them, which is interesting because, really, I'm not really seeing that energy if we look at most of this reading as far as, the Lovers. Like I said, the Seven of Wands there, the Fool energy, whether that's you or the other person after they receive an offer from you. So this could even just be pointing to the other person, really. Or if this is just separate from the potential romantic dynamic, again, this could be pointing to the whole vacation theme that I was talking about. For those of you who had your sights set on maybe making a big extravagant trip, this could just be you trying to figure out balancing the finances to do that, right? Like maybe you don't want to let that hope go. Like, okay, maybe I can't go this month, but maybe if I save up my money for another couple months, I can, So this could just be a trip you're really, really looking forward to. And like I said, for whatever reason, you're not able to make it this month, so maybe you're just trying to figure out when you can reschedule it. And it could just be totally separate from that too. But, what I will say is having major arcana cards here is pretty significant. And, whereas the outcome card is just a plain pip card. So it's definitely a good chance that could be more of a minor outside theme going on, separate from the main stuff we were talking about. All right, now we'll look at your oracle cards. The first one you guys got was By the Book. There's the artwork for it, and the number for that is 11. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, it says abiding by social rules, conformity, respecting cultural or family customs, universal laws. The Oracle's message: the universe works within a structure of divine laws and principles that provides a framework for human experience and evolution. The law of abundance, the law of prayer, the law of karma, the law of attraction, the law of thought, the law of compensation, and the law of nature are only a few that are known. Really? It sounds like they named every law ever, but fair enough, right? It says these principles create perfect order and operate with a kind of precision beyond human understanding. Even revolution has its place in universal law. Human beings, in turn, have their own laws and customs that vary from culture to culture and family to family. Laws keep social order and govern behavior, reflecting an instinctive understanding that harmony is important. This is a time to learn these laws and conform to them, rather than being the rebel and flouting them. When this card appears, submit to structure and follow the rules, even if they seem to make no sense. Release resistance, for universal laws will correct any disharmony. Open your eyes to those universal laws, and it will be easier to go by the book at this time. So what was interesting to me there was it says, release resistance, for universal laws will correct any disharmony. And that did make me think back to what we were saying as far as, you do have the justice card at the bottom of the deck. So we already talked about that as far as, the scales will be balanced one way or the other. Whether you were in the wrong, the other person was in the wrong, or both of you were, and you need to restore balance. So something to keep in mind there. All right, the relationship message says getting along with others entails understanding and respecting who they have become as a result of their environment, culture, and experience. Find the middle ground that allows the relationship to flourish while honoring the individuality of the other person. Play things by the book instead of trying to break the rules or pressure others to conform to the way you want to do them. Your connection will deepen as a result. So maybe that's what was going on there. Maybe there was something that you were trying to do to get them to go along with the way you wanted things to be, and maybe that was what was causing the issue. Not placing blame there. It could have just as easily been the other person, but at least that seems to be the overall theme as far as them saying what caused the rift, possibly. All right, and then the prosperity message says at this time you can expect a return on your investment. Whatever you have pursued, be it a dream you've long cherished, a skill you've cultivated, or a service you're called to, will come to you if you are willing to go by the book. You don't need to reinvent the wheel to be successful. Follow in the footsteps of others who have already achieved the things you're striving for. You can learn a lot by observing the structures that are already working. Your creative projects and commitment to prosperity are in alignment with the needs of the world, but impatience may tempt you to cut corners to get there more quickly. Stick with what you know works, and you will attract abundance. So that's interesting there. It almost sounds like in that regard, like I said, if this is actually the Fool represents energies at play that are making you want to take some kind of a big leap of some kind, at least in the area of prosperity, which is, about finances, it sounds like maybe it's saying that wouldn't be too wise to be, too risky in that regard. All right. And then the next card that we got from the Spirit Animal Oracle, you guys got the Scarab Beetle Spirit. It says magic works through you. So already this sounds like it might be a bit of a different message from by the book. So hopefully if, this message didn't resonate with some of you, this one will. But there's the artwork for it. And it's number 52. So let's take a look at what that has to say. Okay, it says in ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered, for the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary seemingly out of thin air. Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, scarab beetle spirit reminds you that spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. You have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old, for spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you feel replenished and revitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is a great time for optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire, and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance, and love will appear seemingly out of nowhere as you allow spirit to work through you and magically manifest what you need. So interesting there. In a weird way, I could see how both of those cards can play out in this reading, even though the messages are pretty different. But, for those of you who are looking to embrace that fool energy, for example, it definitely sounds like the scarab beetle message would support doing so. But what's interesting to me, though, is I would say either way, it looks like almost like if you were to choose the more conservative route with the buy the book message or the scarab beetle message, again, that brings me back to the justice card at the bottom of the deck, which is almost to say, not that you can't do, not to say you can't do any wrong this month, but it almost feels like even if you might make a misstep this month, the justice card might help balance that out for you. So hopefully you guys got something out of that. But lastly, we'll look at your mudra for the month. So for those of you who haven't been watching my videos for this year, I've been pulling mudra cards for each of the signs. And what mudras are, for those of you who don't know, they're actually hand gestures that you make while meditating. You usually want to hold them for at least 5 minutes, sometimes even up to an hour, depending. But if you're not accustomed to meditating, 5 minutes should be fine. And what their purpose is to help clear blockages. So, sometimes it's physical, but mostly more of a mental, emotional type thing. And the particular mudra you guys got this month, we see it right here. It's the chin mudra. And the keyword for this one is awareness. So I'll turn the card over so you guys can see the information on it. Hold on, let me get it to focus. All right. Why is it not focusing? All right. I don't know why it's not focusing, but what I'll do is I'll just read the actual benefits for it, and then I'll put the name of it in the actual description as well if you guys are interested in learning more about it. Oh, there we go, finally. All right. So, yeah, let me just hold this up for you guys for a second if you wanted to pause it or take a screenshot to see what it's about. And then since not all of that fits in a frame, I'll just move it up so you can see the rest of it. But yeah, as far as the benefits, it says sharpens the intellect, reduces daydreaming and mental fantasy during meditation, lifts depression, opens the lower lobes of the lungs, especially when accompanied by deep diaphragmatic breathing. So that sounds like something you guys think you could benefit from. Like I said, I will put it in the description of the video so you can look into it some more. But we'll wrap up there, guys, all right? And like I said, watch out for once all the general readings are up, I'll start posting some bonus videos for you guys for this month, all right? Bye.